The sun rose slowly over the sprawling city of Rome, casting long shadows across the marble columns and cobbled streets. In the heart of the imperial palace, a young boy named Nero was being prepared to take the throne. At just 17, he was to inherit an empire both magnificent and perilous. The murmurs of the Senate echoed through the grand halls, each whisper carrying hopes, fears, and a trace of unease. Nero's eyes, still innocent in their youth, flickered with curiosity and a growing awareness of the power now placed upon his shoulders. The courtiers bowed and whispered, painting images of grandeur and loyalty. Yet, behind the smiles and gestures of respect, some plotted, some waited, and some merely watched. As he was crowned, the weight of the golden laurel pressed lightly against his brow, but heavier upon his mind. Rome was not just a city.
The corridors of the imperial palace were unusually quiet that night, save for the distant echo of footsteps on marble. Agrippina, once a figure of immense power and influence, now walked with a heightened awareness of the shadows that seemed to follow her. Every flicker of candlelight on the polished floors reminded her that nothing in the palace was as it seemed. She sensed the tension long before she saw it, the unspoken whispers of servants, the silent glances from guards stationed along the halls. Fear was not unfamiliar to Agrippina, yet tonight it coiled tightly in her chest like a viper, and she could not shake the feeling that danger had crept closer than ever before. From a balcony above, young Nero watched silently, his face partially hidden in shadow. His eyes, cold and calculating, followed her every movement. The bond between mother and son, once thought unbreakable, had been replaced with suspicion, paranoia. The night air over Rome was thick with smoke and heat, the city trembling as flames devoured its streets. Houses of marble and timber, once symbols of Roman grandeur, crumbled and fell, sending showers of sparks into the dark sky. Citizens ran through chaos, clutching what little they could carry, their cries swallowed by the roar of fire and the crackle of burning roofs. Above it all, in the cool detachment of his palace balcony, Nero stood silhouetted against the fiery horizon. The lyre in his hands seemed almost an extension of his being, the music flowing calmly, discordant with the horror below. Rumors would one day claim he played while Rome burned, a young emperor fascinated by destruction. But for now, only the city itself screamed in agony. Smoke mingled with the scent of ash and charred wood, curling around the marble statues and torn banners of the Forum. Rome's wealth, its temples and its markets, all were under siege by flames that knew no mercy. And yet, in the distance, small groups of citizens rallied, trying to save their homes, their families, their lives. But the fire was unstoppable. This night would be remembered through centuries, not just for the devastation, but as the moment when Nero's curiosity and ambition began to intertwine with infamy. The city was aflame, the people terrified, and a young emperor watched, already shaping the legend that would haunt history. Nero, the mad emperor of Rome. The sun rose pale over Rome, casting long shadows through the city's streets and amphitheaters. In the arenas, a crowd had gathered, buzzing with anticipation.
The palace of Rome, once a symbol of grandeur and order, had grown silent under the heavy weight of fear. Nero wandered the long halls, lyre in hand, his music echoing eerily through the corridors. The melodies,
once a source of beauty, now carried an undertone of obsession. Each note a reflection of a mind unraveling, a soul consumed by suspicion and ambition. Whispers followed him like shadows. Senators, servants, and even his closest advisors dared not meet his gaze, knowing that a careless word or glance could seal their fate. Paranoia gnawed at Nero, twisting his perception of loyalty and betrayal. Every footstep in the marble halls seemed to echo accusations. Every whisper a potential conspiracy. Executions were carried out with a quiet efficiency.
The empire that had once trembled at Nero's command now turned against him. Rumors of rebellion swirled through the streets, and allies vanished, leaving the emperor isolated within the grand marble walls of his palace. Once feared, now he was hunted, a young man consumed by his own paranoia and cruelty. Nero wandered the shadowed halls, the lyre now silent, each step echoing with the weight of inevitability. The city he had once watched burn, the citizens whose lives he had dictated, now rose in quiet fury, their whispers growing louder, a chorus of the empire's judgment. In his final hours, Nero faced the reality he had long evaded, that power without loyalty is fragile, and fear alone cannot sustain a reign. Surrounded by emptiness and betrayal, the young emperor chose his